When we talk about fat loss, the words willpower and discipline and motivation get thrown around all of the time. But if you fix this, you don't need any of those three. Because the reality is your environment is silently dictating about 90% of the choices that you make. And what's crazy is that it's doing it subconsciously. You are not making any of the choices. Your environment is. Think about it. You could go into the kitchen for an innocent glass of water. You open the fridge and suddenly, before you know it, you've ended up accidentally eating 1,000 calories worth of ice cream or drinking 4 beers. It happens to the best of us. So if your environment isn't set up in the right way, if it works against you, every decision feels difficult and fat loss feels like a real fight. But if it's set up for you, that's where fat loss starts to feel effortless, guys, because you might have a genetic tendency to gain more weight because that is a real thing, or struggle with cravings, struggle with addictions, or even struggle with consistency. These are all real genetic markers that we have. But you have to remember, your genetics only load the gun. It's your environment that pulls the trigger. So we have to set this up to work for you. But a lot of people get confused. They think their environment is just what they can see. It's not. Physical environment is part one, but we've also got part two and part three. Part two is your social environment, and part three, and potentially the most important of them all, especially these days, is your digital environment. This right here is your digital environment, me talking to you. Hopefully it's a positive influence. Today, we're gonna go through all three. I'm gonna help you to clear them up. So, starting with the physical environment, we're gonna go from some real obvious stuff here, but we're hopefully gonna go through some more nuanced stuff that you might not even have thought of as well. So, number one, super obvious, but again, I think a lot of you need to do it, and this is the perfect time to do it. I think this is actually gonna be the action that a lot of people need to take off the back of this video today, is to go through your cupboards, is to go through your fridge and to clear them out. I expect a lot of you have still got leftover chocolate and biscuits and cakes and maybe even some turkey from Christmas hanging around. Let's get rid of it. Let's put it away. Let's either give it to a homeless shelter, throw it in one of those food banks that you've got everywhere. Like, there's plenty of people who will appreciate it. You're on a mission. You don't need that crap lying around. So go through your fridges, go through your cupboards, because out of sight, out of mind is such a simple but such a powerful framework. I was actually literally just speaking to one of my clients, David, there, having a coaching call with him, and he was talking about the idea that he's given up caffeine over the last month, which is amazing, and there's a lot of benefit to that. We talked about that in the sleep video yesterday. But he was saying that he still struggles sometimes because he's got the machine in the background. And I said, you know what you need to do? You need to go and unplug that and put it in a cupboard. And it was like, light bulb moment. It's such a simple thing to do, but because it's just part of our, like, almost part of the furniture, quite literally, we don't think about it. So I'm always scanning my environment and thinking, how can I make this frictionless? How can I remove the friction to make it work for me? Or if it's something that I want to avoid, a temptation, a craving, what friction, what physical barrier can I put between me and that thing? And the example I gave David, and I'll give you, was bread. So I actually have terrible impulse control. You might not think it. You might think, oh, Doug's always disciplined and motivated. No, I really struggle with this stuff. I have a very addictive personality, as I've told you before. But when it comes to bread, if I smell hot bread, oh my God, it does something to me. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was a kid, I grew up in Hong Kong, and we didn't have certain foods. And one thing that I used to absolutely love was the cereal Shreddies. And I remember vividly one day in the summer, me and my mum flew back for the summer holidays, and we landed at Heathrow Airport at like some ungodly hour, like 4 a.m. And we got to my aunt's house in northeast London at like 6 a.m. And I demolished a whole bag of Shreddies. Like, I'm talking like 5 bowls, and then within an hour I was sick. Like, my impulse control is absolutely terrible. So what I do is, if I have temptations, if I have triggers, I just remove them from the house. I mean, to give you an extreme example, if you have a friend who comes to you and says, hey man, I've got something tough to admit to you, I'm an alcoholic. Okay, what's the first thing you do? You pour all the booze down the drain and you get rid of all the bottles, right? Well, why is it any different with the food that, let's be honest, you're addicted to? Why is it any different? It's not. So there's no shame in labeling yourself like, oh, I'm addicted to this, I'm addicted to that. I actually think it's quite a positive reframe, because it helps you to think, well, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be seen as an addict. That's weak. That's lame, right? I don't want to be that guy. So actually give yourself that label, put yourself down a little bit, because it helps you to sort of jolt yourself out of the patterns that you're in. So that's number one. We want to clean out the environment. We want to make sure that we're putting a physical barrier between us and the thing that we're struggling with. Number two, if you are working from home, well, not just if you're working from home, but wherever you are, make sure that you've got a bottle of water within your eye line. Now, obviously, when I'm recording these YouTube videos, I can't just have the water here because that would be a little bit strange. So it's somewhat out of my eye line by being on the table here, but I can actually see it in my periphery vision. And I promise you, as soon as you see that water, it will make you drink more water. And as we spoke about in the video on day 2, I believe it was, one of the secret weapons when it comes to your diet is staying hydrated. Remember the trigger. The trigger is if you feel yourself getting thirsty, you're already dehydrated, okay? And remember, it only takes you to be 1 or 2% dehydrated for your brain to start shutting down those processes and for you to get more lethargic. And when you're more lethargic, it means you're doing less, it means all the hard things feel even harder, and it means you're far less likely to get up and do things. Think about it this way. Water is willpower juice. That's the best. Maybe, you know what? Copyright. I'm coming out with a water brand and I'm calling it willpower juice. That makes sense to me. So yeah, make sure that you got plenty of water knocking around, okay? That was number 2. Number 3, quick and easy meals make fat loss 10 times easier. This was another one of the principles that we talked about on day 2. The idea that, you know, if you've got delicious, high protein, healthy meals that you know, you like, you enjoy, and you can make them in 15 minutes, it makes the whole process so much easier. So what I'll do is after I've finished, I'll put the link to my recipe book again, in case you guys missed it, into the chat so you can grab that, and I'll add it to the description once I've actually uploaded the video as well, because I forgot to do it earlier. But go and grab that, it's free, and there's 15 ideas in there. You can use it as a inspiration book. Number 4, this one's a little bit more niche, and some of you might not have thought of this one before, but it's a good little brain hack. If you're trying to put yourself into a deficit, use smaller plates. So when you fill your plate, your brain is sent a signal that says, okay, cool, well, we've eaten a whole plate, so we must be full. It can't actually necessarily detect that that plate is smaller. So it's quite a nifty little hack there. Okay, so that was the physical environment. We talked about 4 things there, all right? So we talked about water, we talked about having healthy, high protein meals, we talked about cleaning out the cupboards, which I think is the main part of your physical environment. And we also talked about using smaller plates. Now, of course, we could go deeper down the road of, you know, environment and physical stuff. A good one, which everyone talks about, is, you know, having your workout gear at the end of the bed laid out the night before, so you don't even have to get it out of the cupboard in the morning. You know, because again, like what we're trying to do here with our physical environment is either add or remove friction. So remove friction from the good habits and add friction to the bad habits. And so what I want you to do tonight or today, whatever time you're at, is go around your house and think, okay, is this serving me or is this working against me? Okay. And just try to set your life up a little bit so it's easier. Like, I'm going crazy on this stuff at the moment. And also, this is quite addictive. Once you get into this, once you start spotting little things, you will see all the changes everywhere. Today, this is crazy, I know for a lot of people, I use Apple Notes religiously because it syncs between my MacBook and my phone. And, you know, sometimes I'm standing in line at the grocery store and I think of a good idea for a YouTube video and it syncs up with my MacBook. I have like, God knows how many Apple Notes I've got, thousands of Apple Notes. Today, I was going through and organizing them to make it easier for me to find stuff. Like, once you start doing this, you get hooked on it and you start going through your bathroom, your kitchen, your bedroom, your living room, and you start decluttering your life and you're like, oh my God, I feel so much lighter. Literally, like, it almost feels like you're getting rid of, it's like you're shedding a skin, okay? So that's your physical environment. Then we want to talk about your social environment. So whether you realize it or not, the people around you, whether this is friends or family or colleagues or even your partner, they are influencing the decisions and the belief systems that you have. I mean, think about it. We're not going to get into it, but think about it from a political point of view, right? Everything nowadays is politicized. And it tends to be that we group together. It's like groupthink. We group together with the people who have similar ideologies to us, right? This is why they kind of love doing this, because it means they can bucket people very easily. So the people that we're around influence those belief systems, and then we become very tribal, and then we start to believe all of our bullshit. We start to think that, like, we're right and everyone else is wrong, right? We become very closed-minded. And this is a big problem. We start to fall in line with the group that we're with. And this is a huge issue if you're around people who are not taking care of themselves, who are eating what they want, who are out partying, drinking, all this sort of stuff. And this was very much me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys in your 20s and maybe even your 30s. Like, I realized when I got to the age of 30, I stopped drinking for 9 months. And my phone book got a lot smaller and got a lot quieter in my WhatsApp, put it that way. And I realized that a lot of the friends that I'd had in my 20s were actually just drinking partners. Now, that's not a slight on them. Just as they were a drinking partner to me, I was a drinking partner to them. That's just how it was. But you realize the number of friends that you've got is actually a lot fewer than you thought. In fact, the most depressing statistic that I heard in 2025, I think it was, what was the number? I think it was 15% of men report that they have zero close friendships. That's pretty terrifying. I think one of the pandemics, if you want to say it, I don't even know if I can say that word on YouTube anymore. Everyone's very sensitive these days to that word. One of the big problems that we've got in the world these days is a loneliness epidemic. We see this all the time. And actually, that was one of the big incentives for me to do these lives. I said this on day one, is to be able to create an actual community. It helps you guys, hopefully, but it helps me as well. It's great. It's amazing to be able to see people joining from New Zealand and the west coast of Australia. The west coast of the US. How powerful is that? That we can all be coming together and we're all on the same mission and we can all be in one, let's call it a chat room at the same time. Like, that's so bloody powerful, right? But what's crazy about the social environment is they've actually done studies on this, and they found that if you spend time with high performers, your performance across the board increases by 15%. Great, that's a big win, right? But if you spend time with low performers, your performance drops by about 30%. So you see, this has a massive impact on you. The people who are around you have a massive impact on you, and you have to be really, really careful with this stuff, all right, guys? So that's kind of the main thing I wanted to say about social environment. I think that was pretty much everything, just having a quick scan of my notes now. But yeah, even though you don't necessarily feel it or see it on a day-to-day basis, because again, we're all kind of entrenched in the day-to-day life, the people that you hang around with, the partner that you're with, I'm not saying you should just go and divorce your wife tonight. Don't do that. Dog said I should leave you. Don't do that. She'll get angry. It's not going to end well. And I don't want to get blamed. I don't want to get sued or whatever. But the colleagues that you spend time with, the friends that you think are friends, but maybe they're not as close friends as they might actually be, really start to critically evaluate this. Now, the social environment of the three that we're talking about, physical, social, and digital, is the long tail effect. It's the one that's going to take time to change, but I wanted to plant that seed tonight, right now in January, because it's going to take a few months, maybe even a few years to curate that, okay? So just start having a think about that and just be a little bit more careful about where you put your energy, the conversations that you're having, the topics that you're discussing. If you're if you have a group of friends who are constantly creating drama around the news or politics or what fucking Kim Kardashian had for lunch or who Taylor Swift's sucking off, don't worry about any of these things. No one cares. And what's more important is these people, like Donald Trump or Keir Starmer, they don't care about what you're thinking. So to have an opinion on these matters, Venezuela, Iran, well, I'm saying buzzwords here that's probably going to get me banned from YouTube, but thinking about any of these things is absolutely irrelevant because you can't influence it. You can have your opinion and you can sound smart to you. It doesn't matter. So don't hang around with these people who are just bringing up these drama. Even me saying, I'm getting flummoxed now. It's absolutely asinine and irrelevant. So get rid of it from your life, okay? Number 3, most importantly, let me just make sure I'm still live. I'm getting hooked up in this. Are we still going here, guys? We got any comments coming in? Work in caravan campus sales and I'm inspired to lose weight, build the obese. Yeah, I mean, man, 100%. That's. I mean, it's like they always say, if you really want to get a wake-up call, go to Disneyland. I haven't been to Disney since I was a kid, but apparently it is crazy. Like you go to Florida or LA and it's like, whoa, what is going on here? So yeah, go and check those out. Okay, third, finally, most importantly, digital environment. So this is probably the most important of all of them these days because if you think about it, right, everyone's heard the phrase of you're the sum of the 6 people you spend the most time with, right? So that phrase is actually misquoted. So that was from a Harvard study, but the Harvard study actually said that you're the sum of your reference group. Now, back in the day, your reference group was the 6 people you spent the most time with because it was your neighbors, your close friends, your colleagues, maybe your children, and that was basically it. We used to have very small circles, even if you lived in big cities. But nowadays, the way we interact and who we interact with has completely changed. Think about it. A lot of your relationships, maybe even every single relationship you have, has some form of online element to it. And also, like, people don't realize that the relationships or the the relationships they're investing the most into are very one-sided. It's kind of what I just said then about the politics thing, right? There's a lot of people who spend hours every single day on Twitter or Instagram, like debating people that they don't even know, and they're probably debating with robots out of China. Like, do you know what I mean? So you have these online relationships with people and you don't even realize the impact that they're having on you. So I think it's very important to be wary of that and to start to realize that a lot of them are toxic as well. So every time that you are scrolling these social media platforms, including YouTube, by the way, you are shaping your belief systems. And you have to remember that these algorithms aren't on your side. The algorithms are designed by these social media companies to keep you coming back for more, to keep you on the platforms, to keep you engaged, to keep you watching. Because the way they run their business is based on ad revenue. And they know that the longer you spend on the platform, the more ad revenue that they can charge the advertisers, so the more money that they make. And not only that, the better the statistics they can show to the advertisers so that they will advertise more. Because if you think about it this way, you basically have the big three, right? You have Meta, you have Google, and you have TikTok, okay? These guys are now competing against each other for Coca-Cola's dollars. So they're saying, no, you should come and advertise here. No, you should come and advertise here. So they are constantly trying to improve their algorithms to keep you hooked for longer. The longer you spend on the platforms, the better. So they don't care what you're watching. They're not thinking, oh, Russ out there, let's make sure he gets some nice motivational content today. No. They will put in front of you what they know you are going to watch. Now, if you are going to watch motivational stuff, then great. But what you will tend to find is that we regress to the mean, particularly as men. So on Instagram, for example, I found this big time last year, and there's a setting which I'm going to tell you about, which you need to make sure that you've got on. So it got to a point last year where if I went on my explore page on my Instagram, it was literally just OnlyFans girls. That was it. I wasn't searching for it. I wasn't going looking for it. And I found out that there is a setting in your Instagram, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I think it's called sensitive content. So go into your settings on your Instagram, and at the top, there is a search bar, and you can type in sensitive content. And it will have three options. It will have like something like less, normal, or more. Mine was defaulted to more. I hadn't put it there. I hadn't gone, yeah, I want to see loads of this. But it was there. Set it to less, and I promise you, literally like that, it gets rid of all of it. And now what you'll find is that when you go on your feed, you just don't have that same spike. You don't have that same dopamine. So not only is this saving you a ton of time, but it's saving you a ton of mental calories, and it's stopping your dopamine going like this as well. So that's super, super important. If you're wasting a ton of time, arguing in the comments, clicking random videos, this is what it's going to show you. You have to be super, super wary of that. So what you need to do is to hack your own algorithm. So once you've cleaned up your own physical environment, or maybe you want to do this first, what I want you to do is go through the social media site that you spend the most time on. So maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's YouTube. Go through who you're subscribed to, go through who you're following, and just do a mass remove. And every time that you see something you don't like, tell the algorithm that you don't like it. Both of those apps have in the top right corner, I believe it is, they have 3 dots, and you can say like, see less of this. Be proactive with this. And then the third one, TikTok, I'll be honest with you, if you're a man over the age of 35, you shouldn't have TikTok. So just get rid of it. Like, I promise you, your life will get immeasurably better immediately, okay? This is a big thing. Like, this is a huge, huge thing, because your social media feed, think of it like a mental fridge. You put your food in the real fridge, where you put your content in your mental fridge. And that stuff sits with you for hours, maybe even days. You ruminate on something, you think about something, and you, I can't believe that they said that about that. Like, and I do this. We're all guilty of it. I'm not immune to it. I see it whenever there's big sort of world events and everyone wants to throw their 2 cents in and think that they're right or they're the most virtuous person in the world. I get pissed off by it. I get triggered by it. But recently, one of the things I've gone through and really done is mute a ton of people's Instagram stories. Because I'm not really one to scroll, but I have to complete the stories. Anyone else do that? It's like my OCD has to complete the stories. So now I've just muted the people that are constantly annoying me. I don't unfriend them because then it's like, they're going, why did you unfriend me? Oh my God, I thought you liked me. I do, but you're just annoying. And I've seen people do this to me, and I don't care. I don't blame them. I chat loads of shit on Instagram. So fine, that's absolutely fine. I actually don't want people following me or listening to my stuff if I trigger them. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm the most virtuous. Think about it this way. Even the most popular president in the United States is only ever going to get about 50% of the vote. 50% of the people are literally going to hate him or her. So it's just life. You don't need to be liked by everybody, and you don't need to like everybody. You don't need to like the people that you're told to like either. Okay? So disengage from the discourse. I'm copywriting that as well. That is fantastic. I just came up with that. But that is a really good way of saying it. Get rid of all this mental clutter from your head. And I promise you, it doesn't just give you back a lot of time, it gives you back a lot of energy, and it gives you back a lot of those motivations. They give it like organs, invisible energy that you can't see, that you need to channel to use it for you. Because now is the time that you need to be selfish so that you can be selfless later. Woo! The bottom line, guys, you can't rely on willpower with this stuff to fight the bad environment. So whether you want to clean up your physical environment, I would start with your kitchen, maybe your bathroom, your bedroom, or your digital environment. What I want you to do today, right after this video, is pick one thing and action it. Because I'm going to be testing you guys tomorrow and see what you've done. And I promise you, when you start to combine all of the things that we've said, this is going to have such a powerful effect. Because remember what I said to you on day one. This is not a fad diet. This is not 60 days to abs. This is building a new lifestyle. This is a lifestyle that is actually healthy and it's serving you. And when you start to do this, you as by byproduct will start to get the results that you want. I promise you, because it becomes impossible to not live a healthier life. Put it this way, right? Deleting TikTok. I bet a lot of you are scrolling TikTok for 2 hours per day. If you delete it right now, you just bought back 2 hours of your life every single day. Think what you could do with that time. You could go to bed earlier. You could go for a walk. You could spend time with people in the real world, friends, family, loved ones, whatever it might be. You can get a workout and you can do so much. You could read, you could study, you could watch better YouTube videos. It doesn't matter. That's one thing. That's one example. And again, when it comes to your environment, just like your habits, we want to look for points of leverage, guys. We want to look for the things that are holding you back the most. You have to be really honest with yourself. And remember, I'm going to keep coming back to this. The size of the sacrifice that you make is relative to the size of the goal that you will achieve. Boom. That is everything I wanted to say tonight, guys. What have we got in the comments here? Whew. That was a good one. I was happy with that. What are we on? 27. Damn straight. Love it, man. In Canada, go to Walmart. Yeesh. What are we talking about? Russell, I quit 12 years ago. Yeah, you find out who your friends are, but that's a good thing. Not, yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%, guys. Freezing Edinburgh. Yeah, my mum actually sent me a video from my aunt who's up in Aberdeen, and it was like not 6 foot. That would be a lot. That'd be crazy. That'd be like my height. 6 inches of snow. Crazy weather up there at the moment. What happened to, I'm not going to say it. I'll get banned. Where's Greta when you need her? Ah, stupid little bint. Way off topic here, but what are your thoughts on zero sugar energy drinks instead of black coffee in the mornings? I only ever have one a day, but I'm trying to hit 12% body fat. Right. So, how can I say this without getting cancelled? Look at who owns the energy drinks. Look at the parent companies of these brands. And think about whether these brands have ever done anything that has helped you in your health. The energy drinks are not good for you, man. I would rather you drink black coffee. I'm not sure why or who has told you to make that change. But if you don't want to get rid of caffeine completely, that's fine. I'm not saying you have to abstain from caffeine. Go back to black coffee. And it's cheaper as well. Good friendship outside of my direct family is something I need to work on. Yeah, look, you and everyone else, trust me. But I promise you, you'll love it. This is better from church. A daily weight loss sermon from Deacon Doug. I might change my YouTube channel name, Deacon Doug. I was actually thinking, I genuinely looked into this. What would be the fastest way for me to get a doctorate? Just because Dr. Doug sounds really cool. And even though a lot of these doctors that you see on YouTube are chatting complete shit and have no business talking about the stuff they're talking about, because they're there's one guy, he's like a doctor of the eye and he's talking about weight loss. Just so you guys know, and by the way, I have nothing against doctors. I love doctors. My family is full of doctors and nurses, lots of NHS workers in the past, lots of respect for them. So this is not me bashing them. They play a very, very important role in society. But did you know that doctors get 4 hours of nutrition training in 5 years? 4 hours. So they basically go, oh yeah, by the way, nutrition is not really important. Well, pretty sure it is, but Because doctors, the way they're almost taught like they were taught mechanics. People are going to come in with problems. This is how you fix their problems. They're not taught to be proactive, right? So you do get some doctors. I have one of my clients at the moment. His doctor's super proactive. He's like really jacked guy down in Florida, and he's got him on some BPC 187. What's it called? 187, 157. Got some great stuff. So there's some fantastic doctors out there who have gone above and beyond, and they really they care about it because they care about their own health, their own nutrition. But I'm not being funny. If I walk into a doctor's surgery and my doctor is like struggling to stand and breathe and he's morbidly obese, sorry mate, but I ain't listening to you. See ya next.